Thank you for tuning into Mirror Now. You're watching the news with me, Kavita Krishnan. We got lots lined up for you, but first, quick look at the headlines. Mirror Now goes on ground to conduct a status check on the cracker sale ban. In Noida, crackers are being sold openly. Will authorities take note? Alarm bells go ringing in the national capital again. Air quality drops to very poor. Environment authorities warn of a post-Diwali crisis. Routine measures taken to help reduce pollution. Skeletons of more harassment spill out of the closet of the Pune pub. High spirits. Mirror Now visits Khodu Irani's den of perversion and discovers just how women are objectified at this high-profile pub. First, a Bengaluru woman was thrashed for opposing illegal slaughterhouses. Now, the probe panel chief probing these slaughterhouses targeted by a mob. Only 12 people have been arrested so far. Haryanvi singer Harshita Dahiya shot dead in Panipat by unidentified assailants. Contract killing suspected, prime suspect her brother-in-law, who had also killed her mother. Suspect is already lodged in Tihar jail. Karnataka's crumbling public health infrastructure on display. Woman in labour pain left unattended at a locked primary health centre, whose sole ambulance also was not functional. Still no respite for the people of Maharashtra's government buses stay off the road. State's appeal to call off the strike falls on deaf ears. As he contemplates his political entry, Hassan triggers a new debate. The actor apologizes for backing demonetization, says he will salute the Prime Minister if he too admits that the note ban was a mistake. Well, our top story at this hour. Should a woman be deprived of her religious identity and basic rights if she chooses to marry out of a religion? That is the question that India's top court will take up, specifically when it comes to Parsis. Gulrukh Adi contractor has taken her fight to the Supreme Court. She was not even allowed to attend her father's funeral. A 5-judge constitution bench will soon hear the case. In 2012, in fact, the Gujarat High Court had ruled that Gulrukh ceased to be a Parsi after she married a Hindu man.
In this case, the woman knows very clearly before she marries that the community will not allow her, the same rights as a Parsi Rashtriyan as she was before marriage. So she's taken the onus and she's taken the, I won't say challenge, but she's taken the conditions and got married. Now, after doing that, to have the whole community change the laws for her, I think it's unfair.
Just because you have married somebody from out of the community, but you still continue to practice your religion in words, deeds and thoughts, then there can be no bar from you in actually taking part in the ceremonies.
Supreme Court also cannot be able to decide. They cannot interfere in our religion matter. Religious matter is this subject matter which only a Parsi can take a decision.
That is what has been laid down by the religion. So, why change that? This has been laid down by the forefathers. This is the way it has been written in the religious scriptures. So, we are nobody to change it. It is not that I am against women and I am for men. But this is what has been laid down and written in the religious scriptures and books, so let it remain that way.
Parsi women marries under Special Marriage Act and she files an affidavit on oath and submit to the local panchayat that she has not renounced her religion and she is following the religion, then she will be allowed to go at all the Parsi place of worship. She won't be restrained, but she should give affidavit first.
Well, Richa Sharma has been reporting on that story. She now joins me from Mumbai. Richa, of course, we saw you speaking with members of the community. Age-old practice, in fact, that Parsis have been following. But this is probably for the first time ever that the apex court is going to take it up and consider the constitutional validity of what the community has been saying?
That's right, Kavita. This 2012 judgment that had come out of the Gujarat High Court, after which Gulrukh and her team of lawyers went ahead to the Supreme Court and appealed, and now a judges of five bench will be taking up this matter to decide if women practicing Zoroastrianism, as well as if she is Parsi by birth, if she marries somebody from the Hindu religion, will she be still allowed to practice her religion? Because the Parsi community, when I spoke to a number of them, including the panchayat, what they are stating is that they are not against the women, Parsi women in general, but they would not allow them to practice their religion, because this is something that they have been following since many years now, since the time they actually first landed on the coast of Gujarat, and that's something, sort of a treaty that they had signed with the then kings as well, and that's what they have been following from centuries now, and they do not want to change it. While on the other hand, the team of Gulrukh and the lawyers are completely negating this fact and stating that today, because she was married under the Special Marriages Act, she is allowed to practice her religion, and the Parsi community and the panchayat and their team of lawyers stating that they have this personal law cannot be stated and justified, and it is completely unconstitutional against women given their right to practice their choice of religion. So clearly it is to be seen what kind of a response will now the Supreme Court take on this matter, because very recently we saw the the very historical triple talaq judgment coming in for the Muslim women, and while on the other hand the Parsi community are also very close-knit, but they allow their men to marry outside the religion, but they do not allow the women. So that is the big question that now needs to be answered, and that's what will be decided by the Supreme Court.
Richa, also we know that this is a case that first went to the Gujarat High Court and then has now gone into appeal to the Supreme Court. Could you give us a bit of a background over here? What exactly happened that Gulrukh had to, actually move court?
Yes, Kavita, Gulrukh, she married a Hindu man outside her religion. She was born in a Parsi family. She practiced Zoroastrianism. But after her marriage, she was not allowed to perform the last rites of her father. And that's what is the any Parsi, if you go to if you meet any of the Parsi community members, they never allow outsiders to even enter their temple area or any of their sacred regions, including the last rite places which are located in Mumbai as well as in Gujarat. And that's what led to this sort of a revolt that she felt within herself. And when she went to the Gujarat High Court, the court completely negated the matter and stated that because she has married outside her religion, and in all the religion, and this is a practice that is followed across the world, that if a woman marries, she has to accept the surname or the religion of her husband. So in this matter as well, that's what is happening. And
I need to interrupt you there. Stay with us. We have Indra Jai Singh, the advocate of the Supreme Court, on the phone line with us. Ms. Jai Singh, thank you very much for speaking with Mirror Now. Now, we understand that this is a practice that Parsis have been following for a long time. Tell us this. How does this violate the basic spirit of our Constitution?
Well, to begin with, let me tell you that what really got me interested in the case is that this is a father-daughter relationship, and all that the daughter is asking for is the right to be present at her father's funeral, which to me seems a very basic and fundamental right of every human being. That's what made me take an interest in this case. Now, to answer your question about the Constitution, we have a law in this country, the Special Marriages Act, which enables marriage between two people belonging to different faiths without either of them losing their faith. They can keep their faith. It's one of the most progressive laws this country has enacted to encourage interfaith marriages. Now, if that is the law, then a Parsi woman marrying a Hindu would be able to practice her religion. That is the right of every human being. Now, if that is the law, then a Parsi woman marrying a Hindu would be able to practice her religion. That is the right of every human being. Now, if that is the law, then a Parsi woman marrying a Hindu would be able to practice her religion. That is the right of every human being. Now, if that is the law, then a Parsi woman marrying a Hindu would be able to practice her religion. That is the right of every human being. Now, if that is the law, then a Parsi woman marrying a Hindu would be able to practice her religion. That is the right of every human being. Now, if that is the law, then a Parsi woman marrying a Hindu would be able to practice her religion. That is the right of every human being. Now, if that is the law, then a Parsi woman marrying a Hindu would be able to practice her religion. That is the right of every human being. Now, if that is the law, then a Parsi woman marrying a Hin will have to continue to be a Parsee. Unfortunately, the High Court of Gujarat has given a judgment in which they say on marriage, in every religion, a woman's religion merges with that of her husband, which to me sounds like not just an unconstitutional proposition, but absolutely absurd. The constitutional issue that I'm raising here is that religion is a matter of conscience. Each of us has our own individual conscience, and no one can be told that your conscience has merged with somebody else's conscience. So this is the issue the Supreme Court will have to decide. And I'm saying that this young daughter's right to practice her own religion has been denied on the so-called doctrine of merger, which has no precedent in Indian law. That's the issue for you.
Exactly. Also, Indra Jai Singh, we spoke to a lot of people within the Parsi community, and one of the things that we were also told is that she should have ideally taken a certificate from the Parsi panchayat, which says that okay, we know that you have married into a different religion, but you have continued to practice Zoroastrianism. Now, if she has married under the Special Marriages Act, then is such a certificate necessary?
Not at all. It's a face-saving argument, nothing more than that. It's an attempt to, tell the court that we are not really being unreasonable, because she tried every possible avenue. She has filed an affidavit in which she has said that she continues to be a practicing Parsi. And here, the issue is not whether she continues to be a practicing Parsi. Nobody denies it. But it is the High Court of Gujarat which has taken the view that as soon as you marry, you cease to be a Parsi. It's almost like saying, even if you continue to practice the Parsi religion, in law you're not a Parsi. Why? Because you married out of your faith. So it's really an attempt to keep people, prevent people from marrying outside the community. For what reason, I can't say. Maybe because the community itself is a shrinking, dwindling community, and they want to keep people within their fold. This is what it seems to me. But I know that this girl made every possible effort to convince the panchayat that she continues to be a practicing Parsi.
But Indra Jai Singh, we also understand that the rules are different for men. If a Parsi man were to marry outside the community, he does not lose, he is not excommunicated.
Yes. So this is the second constitutional issue of gender bias. And the judge doesn't say that the judge doesn't say that on marriage, a man's religion merges with that of his wife. It's the other way around. It's classic patriarchy, that on marriage, every woman has to destroy her identity, destroy her personality. And he goes to the extent of saying, look, the very fact that in all religions you change your name, you take the name or the second name of your husband. Now, of course, I've had to put it on record that, there are many women today who don't change their name when they get married. They continue to keep their natal name. So, it's really about the historical legacy of patriarchy that we're talking about, that makes the judge think that the minute you get married, you lose your identity and you merge your identity with that of your husband. And as you rightly point out, it's not the other way around. The man doesn't lose his identity and merge his identity with the woman. So it's a major constitutional issue.
Right. Also, the other thing that we should really consider over here is that the Anjumans or the Parsi panchayats, what is their legal standing? Can they actually come up with laws like this, or are they in this position merely because they control huge tracts of prime property?
That's it. Not just huge tracts of property, but you also have to see, what function this property is performing. It's a public function. It's about funerals. And if you see all cities, all municipalities, they do have a duty to run crematoriums and to maintain them because it's an issue of public health. It's a public interest issue that every civilized society has an ordered way of disposing of the dead. Now, every community can have its own way. But the point is, yes, there is this massive land issue over here. The ownership of these, places of the Towers of Silence is in the hands of these tiny panchayats. And this is an abuse of position to say that a daughter cannot witness the funeral of her own father. I mean, imagine what I would like to say is that it's such an emotional issue. It's the last and final time that a daughter is going to be seeing her own father. And to say that at that point you cannot enter. Why? Because you married somebody who's not a Parsi, to me, is the grossest violation of all your human rights.
Precisely. And when we are speaking about rights, Indira Jai Singh, if you could also tell our viewers, what are the rights that Parsi women are legally entitled to? Even if they marry out of the community, what is granted to them by the Constitution of India?
It's time that women of all communities realized and demanded, as they are doing now. The same issue came up in the Triple Talaq case. The same issue is going to come up in the Shabrimala temple entry case. The right to equality and non-discrimination based on sex. So we need to understand how to separate religion, and it is not my case that we are saying that everyone should live without a religion, sure. But everybody has, most likely everyone has a religion, but equally there are people in this country who are atheists and they have a right to be atheists. But the point is, religion has a place in your life which cannot spill over to your civil life. And so we need to learn to separate the issue of marriage, the issue of our civil rights from religion. And that's the calling of the right to equality and the right to non-discrimination based on sex.
Right. And Indira Jai Singh, one final word from you, ma'am. If you could tell us, we've seen a number of groundbreaking judgments come of late from the top court of the country. How hopeful are you that this daughter will get justice?
Yeah. Well, speaking for myself, I'm pretty confident that the ruling of the Gujarat High Court has no basis in law and in the Constitution. But the rest is something that the Supreme Court needs to take a call. It's very interesting that in the last 6 months, you've seen women of every community approaching the court. We began with the Triple Talaq case of Muslim women. We're going on to Parsi women, and then you come to Hindu women when it comes to the Shabrimala temple. So at least I can say that times are changing and women are becoming more conscious about their... I hope sometime later to have a discussion with you about the Shabrimala case as well, not today. But it's also very important, very significant, where women are saying, why are we being denied entry into the temple? And there, as you know, the issue is between the age of 10 to the age of 50. Because women menstruate, they're not being allowed to enter temples, which is truly shocking in the 21st century. So the issues that this case raises, the Parsi woman's case, Shiraz and her sister Gulrukh, they, go way beyond the case itself and put women and their right to equality at center stage. And the court is going to have to deal with this issue.
Right. Indira Jai Singh, thank you very much for speaking with Mirror Now. Supreme Court Advocate Indira Jai Singh over there saying that times are changing and hopefully the Parsi community will recognize that. The Supreme Court judgment is something that we will, of course, track. Joining me now also is Dick Hasumani, Parsi Citizen. In fact, Mr. Dick Hasumani, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us first, where do you stand as far as this case is concerned?
So I have made my stand very clear as far as this is concerned.
Yes, if you could spell it out for our viewers, Mr. Hasumani.
favor of people not marrying outside the community, and my viewpoint is that if you do marry, then you should relinquish all rights and perquisites that the community so offers to you.
Right. Shouldn't that be the same thing for men and women both?
No, it is basically a patriarchal society. This is what has been laid down in the scriptures since very long, and I don't think we have any right to change the scriptures.
So essentially what you are telling us is, though the Constitution of India guarantees women the right to equality, there is no need to change the practices of the community because it has been written in the scriptures?
Yes, absolutely. This is basically, I follow my religion and I am a fanatic as far as this goes. And I would say kudos to the Gujarat High Court for giving this kind of a judgment.
Right. So you don't agree that it is time to rewrite the laws? The times are changing. We know that the Parsi community is very close-knit and extremely small. Don't you think it is time now that these laws are rewritten?
The point here is, ma'am, that it has been clearly written in our religious books, and our high priest also says that marrying outside the community is absolutely a taboo. So if you do go ahead and marry outside the community, then I think you should be willing to relinquish and all the perquisites that the community so offers you.
So Dick Haswani, what you're essentially saying is that even if it violates the laws laid down by the Constitution, women, Parsi women, do not have any rights.
Oh, women, I mean, if you are marrying outside the community, you should, this is what has been laid down in the religious books. It is not something that you and me have written.
What are the rights of a woman, a Parsi woman who doesn't marry outside the community? What rights does she have?
If a Parsi woman doesn't marry outside the community, she can visit all the religious places. She can look after her parents, and the last rites of the parents she can attend. There is no denial to that.
But once she marries outside the community, she ceases to be a daughter, not just of the community, but also of that father and mother who gave birth to her. Is that what is written in the scriptures, Mr. Hasumani?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is what has been going on since so many years. I mean, who are we to change it? And I mean, if the Gujarat High Court has given this landmark judgment, it is time that we respect this landmark judgment. And why do you have to make a big fiasco out of the whole thing?
Right, Mr. Hasumani, and that's precisely why the lady in question has chosen to go to the apex court, because it violates the constitutional rights guaranteed to her. And this is a fight that we will closely follow on Mirror Now. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Moving on to another big focus story. A day after Mirror Now completely exposed a dirty lounge bar called High Spirits in Pune, more skeletons tumble out. Mirror Now today goes inside the den of these misogynistic drunkards. Here in this High Spirits cafe in Pune, women are merely objects. We are told that games like a Big Booty Award, Best Breasts Award are commonplace at the bar over here. Mirror Now goes into the den of these sexist drunkards. Take a look at this expose. In fact, Disha Shah, who's on location in Pune, who was the one who actually went into the High Spirits bar, now joins me. Disha, of course, when you visited the bar, it was not functioning. It opens at 5 in the evening, we are told. Tell us, what is the mood on ground today?
That's right, Kavita. This is a very, approximately a 15-year-old High Spirits bar here in Pune. And what we understand is that, like you rightly pointed out, when we just stepped inside the bar, because it was afternoon where the staff was working there, the pub reopens only at 8 p.m. Onwards. So that is the time when the pub really reopens, and then it is open till 12:30 to 1 a.m. But what we understand, there were different kind of awards. The poster, the banner which is put right outside the gate, it talks about the different kind of sexist awards, like the Best Breast Award, the Best Cook Award, the Best Chopstick Award. All of these are really throwing in a very bad culture when we spoke to a lot of visitors today, Kavita, who have been visiting High Spirits all of these years, and now recently they also went on to say that how the culture has become so bad that they have just stopped going there because of the sexual harassment done by the owner and other group of men, including their staff.
Take us through what these different women told you, these different women who used to patronize this particular bar, who used to go there in the evening just to have a good time with friends. Tell us what they went through, what kind of harassment did they face?
That's right, Kavita. When we spoke to a lot of women out here, even including the college girls, the college students, and even few school students for that matter, who have been visiting this High Spirits pub occasionally, what they told us, one such girl, even she went on to say that she stepped into the bar, Kavita, wearing jeans and a top, and then the owner, who is also accused of harassing girls sexually and giving them lewd comments. In fact, he went on to say that you shouldn't enter the bar wearing jeans and a top. You should come wearing a skimpy clothes. That is what the bar is and the pub is known for. Otherwise, I will ban you from coming to this pub at all. This is one of the such instance. Second victim, when we spoke to Kavita, what they told us is that it was like a home for her. I mean, after tuitions and after every weekend she was there, but all of a sudden she started seeing the culture. She started seeing how the owners and the boys over there started misbehaving with the tourists and also people, the young girls coming out there. And she was warned by the owner, Kavita, saying categorically that if you really talk about what is happening inside the pub, then you will also be banned. So considering it was a second home and she had been going there for like almost more than 10 years now, she really kept numb. So all of these are the victims, Kavita. They have spoken to us on camera and they have really shared their experiences when they were there at that particular pub.
Thank you very much for joining us with all those details. So essentially, what Disha is telling us over here is that this bar made objectification normal. It made assault and talking dirty about women normal, harassment normal, and that's the reason why women are now speaking out against this bar. Now, Grand Diwali celebration is currently underway in Ayodhya. The Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is attempting to link Ram Rajya to development in the state. The BJP state government is also all set to light up 1.71 lakh earthen lamps, host a grand aarti on the banks of the river Saryu, followed by an extravagant laser and fireworks show. We have Anila Singh on the phone with us. Anila Singh from the BJP who joins us now. Anila, grand plans over there for a Diwali gala. But tell us this, how is this exactly going to help in the development of Uttar Pradesh?
Wish you a very happy Diwali to you and all the viewers of your channel. And definitely, not only Uttar Pradesh government, but even the central government under the scheme of Prasad Yojana and Swadesh Darshan Yojana, we are getting lots of development done in Ayodhya. So that is going to bring not only the prosperity to the Ayodhya, but lots of employment as well. So we should see everything from that light.
Right, we can see that you're lighting 1.71 lakh lamps over there. But what about all those dead children in Gorakhpur, of the Gorakhpur hospital? Who's going to light lamps for them?
Uttar Pradesh government is working day in and day out to improve health sector. And when you are talking about lighting of lamps, let me tell you that so many poor potters, they got employment by this. You should, I told you that there are two sides of coin. And you want to see glass half empty or half full.
Right, Anila Singh, and happy Diwali to you as well. Like the Yogi government is telling the rest of India, happy Diwali. However, we are wondering how happy is the Diwali of all those parents, all those families who lost their children in the Gorakhpur massacre, even as the Yogi government lights up Ayodhya on Diwali day with 1.71 lakh earthen lamps. With that, it's a wrap on the news, but do stay tuned to Mirror now. More to come after this break.